Hey, my name is Jesus Castello, and in this video, you're going to learn about a very important topic, Ruby conversion methods. What's a conversion method and why is it so important? Let me show you with some examples. You might have tried this code sometime as you're learning Ruby, right? And it's a string plus an integer, a number, right? Now what happens when I run this code? Well, we get this type error. Why? Because as the error says, there is no implicit conversion of integer into string. What does that mean? Well, it means exactly that. It means that we can't mix a string and a number, because what do you expect that to make? What's a string plus a number, right? There are different things. It's the same as saying I want to add a string plus a hash. You also get the same error. So there's no implicit conversion of hash into a string. Okay, so to add up the two things like this, they need to be the same kind of object, right? So if I have an array, I can add it with another array. I have an integer, a number, I can add it to another integer, because both sides are the same type. And by type, we mean the class, right? The class, which is integer, string, hash, array. Okay, so type and class in this context, they are interchangeable terms or concepts. Okay, so how do we fix this? How do we fix being able to add together two different types? That's where conversion methods come in, because Ruby, because you can define a few methods that allow you to convert from one type to another. For example, if we want to make the integer 1 into the string 1, we do 2s. So 2s means to string, convert to string, right? And what we get back is a new string with this number made into a string, right? And you can tell it's a string because it has the quotes around it. And of course, it can be any number. It's not only for one. We convert any number. So now if we use this information, we can do the following. Now this works. So there are other ways to mix strings with numbers, right? And that's a string interpolation, which looks like this. We can put an integer in there, and that works. Why does this work? Well, let me show you with this example I prepared for you. So what is this? This is the trace point class in Ruby. This is not a gem, this is built into Ruby. And this is something that allows you to see the methods that are being called, right? And with this, what I want to show you is when we run this code and string interpolation of 1 plus 1, what we see is that Ruby is calling the method 2s. So the same we did in here is doing in there. You don't see this, right? Because there is no 2s in the interpolation, but Ruby does this automatically for you. As you can see, the call is in the class, is into the integer class. So it's doing exactly the same I did here in there. So I just wanted to show you this so you can see clearly what's going on. Okay, so there are other conversion methods. Of course, there is not only to s, there's only to I, to a, to h, to enum. Let me show you a list because I prepare another script just for this presentation, for an article I wrote about this, where you can see the different conversion methods. So this is called find conversion methods. As you can see, what I get is a list of the different conversion methods and the classes that define them. So for example, we have 2C, which is too complex, and this class defines this method, which means that you can convert them into this kind of object. Then to F for to float, to I for to integer, right? To rational, to S. Notice how many classes implement to S, all of that. And to A, right? So there is a lot of conversion methods. So let's see one more example. If I go back into Pry, for example, if I get a range, so we can call to A an arrange, for example, and what we get is a representation of this range in its array format. So that's another example. Now you might have noticed a different kind of conversion methods, and these are these ones. They are longer, and there is also a lot less classes that implement this method, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. So here we can see 2hash is not 2h, it's 2hash. It's the full name almost. Well, yes, it's the full name of the class. 2hash, it's only implemented by hash. 2array is only implemented by array. 2int is only implemented with float, integer, and numeric, right? And 2str only implemented by string, and this, which I believe is a subclass of a string. So what's the deal with this? Why do we have 2str and 2s? Why can we do this, right, 2s, but if I do this to str, we get undefined method? Well, the difference between these two is that when you define to str, it means that you are a string. Basically, your class behaves, acts, is a string. It could be replaced by an actual string object, right? Why is this useful? Well, let's say that I have a class. Let's call it class cat, right? I want to add it like this to a string. What happens? Well, type error, as you can imagine. We can't convert cat into string because Ruby doesn't know how to do that. And even if we implement 2s, hold on. Even if we implement 2s with def 2s, that's not enough, right? Because 2s is a method that we have to be explicit about. We have to say 2s, right, like this, or we have to use string interpolation. So we have to be clear, we have to be explicit about making this into a string. But now notice what happens if I go again. I open the class. This is something that's possible in Ruby. You can redefine a class and add new methods to it, and I can say def to str. Notice this str, not to s. Now I'm going to return some kind of a string, And now I can do this. Now I can do empty string plus cat.new. Why? Simply because I defined the toStr method. So Ruby is looking for this. Ruby is looking for the other part to be of the same type. So string plus a string, or a string plus something that behaves or is a kind of a string. And the way to define that, the way to say that your class is like a string, is to define this method. So that's the whole purpose of this kind of conversion methods. Same with numbers, right? There is also a toInt. So integer implements toInt because it's an integer, right? But of course, a string doesn't implement toInt because it has nothing to do with integers. Now we have some kind of object that it represents an integer. Then we could, if we wanted, implement toInt to this object, right? It's important to notice here the difference. It's a very important difference in that you only implement toStr if your class is like a string. That means that the whole purpose of your class is being a string, right? It only does string things. It doesn't do anything else that's not like a string. Now, if your class you want a string representation, which is different, then you implement toS. So you would implement this. That means you convert the object into whatever format, string format that's appropriate for that object. Okay, so that's the difference. I hope it makes sense. And just to reiterate, just to make sure that it sinks in, because I know some people are going to be confused about this. The point is that you only want to mix things that are the same thing. So you only want to mix a string with a string, integer with integer, array with array, right? That's why we do this. And that's why you get this type error. And you have to be explicit about wanting to mix them, or wanting to add them up. So that's the lesson on conversion methods. If you like this video, click the like button for me so I know that you like it. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe to the channel now if you haven't yet. And also check out my website, rubyguides.com, and check out my book, where you will learn a lot of very interesting things about Ruby to help you improve your Ruby skills. And the book you can find on the bottom. If you scroll down on my website, rubyguides.com, you will find a picture of the book. You click in there and then you will be able to buy it. Okay? So check that out, and thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found this interesting. See you in the next video.